Packer and Durham on a Thursday. It is show number 399, which means tomorrow, coat and tie. Every 100, we actually dress up for the occasion.
Do I have to wear socks?
No. Socks are totally optional.
Okay,
but, coat and tie tomorrow.
Socks
every 100
optional.
shows. That's what we do. I tell you what, our next guest makes his debut on the program.
Shoot.
And Coach is going to be excited because I tell you what, he's got a lot of pieces back for next year. Mark Whipple joins us from Pittsburgh. Coach, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. And you don't have to wear shoes. I don't ever wear shoes. So, for tomorrow. But, yeah, great to be with you guys.
You're going to fit right in with this show. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yeah.
We normally try to keep everybody wound up here, but sometimes they give us the side angle shot and realize we're wearing shorts with no shoes. That's normally how we operate, one way or the other, Coach.
That's exactly what I got, shorts and no shoes, getting ready for this recruiting weekend.
There you go. I like the attitude already.
You've got normalcy now, Mark. I mean, you're an offensive coordinator. You got returning starters, but you got normalcy this year. You had a spring practice. Now we're coming off a dead period in recruiting. I mean, this feels like football, right?
Oh, absolutely. Around here, it couldn't be better. Really couldn't be better. We got, I think, 8 guys coming in on official visits. Yesterday, we worked out with the guys for a half hour, had a meeting, walked out on the veranda, watched the Steelers practice, BS'd with Ben a couple minutes, and then go back and watch 15 days of spring practice, and it couldn't be better. So we're doing great here.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett joined us not long ago. He has been a buddy of ours. He's been on here many, many times. The fact that he said, you know what, I took a look at the NFL where we are, but you know what, I got some unfinished business. As an offensive coordinator, you got to be licking your chops when you've got that kind of experience, not to mention the weapons around him. I think you've got huge, huge upside in 21 in Pittsburgh.
Well, yeah, that part of, I think all those things you mentioned are the reason why Kenny's coming back. You know, Lucas Kroll got hurt the first game he played. Jordan Addison missed a couple games, and he's back young. There's Izzy right there. He had a great spring. Our guys up front, we had a lot of guys play football because of COVID last year, and we're a little deeper at tight end. And we got some young guys that I'm really excited about, and so is Kenny. So I said, put all those things together, and last year you really weren't healthy. You were healthy for 3.5 games, and with the pandemic, I said the scouts never got a chance to see you work, how you go about your business on a game field, how you practice, which I think is just such a huge thing for the scouts and for those guys in the NFL. And talk to some of the people I'd worked with before, and he made a great decision. But I really think the best thing is he's never gone back to that. He's been better than ever in the weight room as a leader, as a captain, and we're just having a lot of fun. I just love being around the guy.
Mark, when you and I talked in the spring, when Roddy and I were going to do the game, and you mentioned the conversation with Kenny, you had to talk about the future investment of coming back to Pittsburgh. I mean, look, you said it. I mean, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I don't think here
right.
About, you could go to the draft, you could get a 5th or a 6th round grade, you could go be a part of a camp, but there are no guarantees. The future investment you need to make is you were thinking about him 5-10 years from now having this year ahead of him, as opposed to him just going blindly into it, right?
Right, and those are, I talked to Kevin Colbert, a couple of general managers, and Tom Donahoe is a good friend, and people I work with and scouts, and nobody had him higher than a 5th round, even though he had an invite to the Senior Bowl. And I said, hey, the things I just mentioned, people are going to see you work. But I also said, you got a chance to be a Hall of Fame player here at Pitt. You don't understand what that means 20 years from now. You can get your name on the walk in front of the Cathedral of Learning. There's some unfinished things here that you're not going to know, but when you got a son and you walk him by there 25 years from now, and your parents will be proud of you no matter what. But these are long-lasting legacies. You're going to break all Dan Marino's record. Even we mentioned with Danny's, hey, something. So you could be the all-time leading passer at the University of Pittsburgh. So I said, these are things that, I know you're young and you're thinking about the future. And I said, the other thing is, you got a chance to get drafted higher. You get drafted in the 5th round, you're not going to get that many reps, especially the way that things are going in the offseason. you're a guy that likes to. He's like Tom Brady. He doesn't let anybody get any reps. The second quarterback he throws out on all the things. If Jordan Addison's up, so he always wants more. And I tell him, oh, you're going to have the day off. All of a sudden he's on the sideline throwing. I said, no, you're off today. He's just a guy that loves to play the game and loves to be around his teammates. So he's just an infectious attitude in the way he goes about things.
Coach, it was cool to watch. You mentioned Jordan Addison a second ago. It was cool to watch him enter the fray last year. And all of a sudden it was like, who is this Addison guy? Every week we'd give out our wide receiver U awards, and he's making some acrobatic catch, and Kenny's just humming it, and he's just going to go find it. But, man, let me tell you something now. Number 3 right there in the sweet unis, he is a problem for everybody in the league. How do you see him developing even into this year? Because it was hard to believe he was only a freshman last year.
Well, yeah, he's special. He's as good as the guys I've had. I had a couple, some guys in Miami. Obviously, Andy Isabella led the country when I was at UMass. Tajay Sharp did way ahead of those guys. I said Andy caught 2 passes his freshman year, led the country. His senior year, Jordan had 65. And now the thing that Jordan really is he's really, really smart. We just played him in a slot, and a few times we'd put him on the outside. Now he's playing all 3 receiver spots, XZ, Zebra, and playing him some out of the backfield. So we can do a lot of things with him. He's really fun to be around, and he's stepped his game up another notch, even though it's hard to believe. Kenny just said that to me yesterday. How were the guys yesterday? He goes, Jordan was unbelievable, throwing routes on air after our workout. He says, just the things he's doing are special. That's why, Wes, you were at the spring game. I was yelling at Brennan on the other side. I said, get him out of the game right now. So we don't need him catching bubbles. Get him out, So he wanted to stay in. But that's the kind of kid he is. He's just awesome.
Well, and this too, as good a situation as you've got throwing it, you got a pretty good problem running it too, because you got a lot of guys. I don't know how you're going to cut the ball up for Vincent Davis, AJ Davis, Abanikanda. Sibley, Daniel Carter. Whip. How are you going to do that? You're just going to tell them to fight for it?
Well, I don't think any coach has ever said I had too many good players. So we're going to try to add to that, this summer with some guys. But, yeah, all those guys are a little bit different. The one thing that has happened negatively is all those guys have gotten hurt in the backfield. Just when Izzy was coming on against BC, you showed the highlight. He caught a rail route for a touchdown and had a couple runs. And he gets his kidney hurt. He doesn't come back the rest of the year. Sib had some good games. He's gotten hurt. Daniel Carter got hurt. We went into the Virginia Tech game with one healthy back, Vince Davis. And nobody else could play, so that issue I hopefully will resolve itself. We also got a young freshman coming here in a couple weeks, so but all those guys are talented. I'm glad they're all back. They're really, really a good room. Coach Powell does a great job with those guys, so we'll figure it out. So it's a good problem to have.
Coach, we had Pat Narduzzi on, a couple weeks ago. And I said to Coach, listen, you are a defensive-minded coach. You've got that reputation. But every time I look at Pitt, whether it be the spring game or start reading about your team, it just feels like at some point in time you hope the defense can catch up to the offense in 21. And he nodded in agreement, which shocked me because I was thinking those defensive guys, they never want to give in to the offense under any circumstance. But when Pat Narduzzi went, Pack, I think you're right. I couldn't believe he said it. So, again, the expectation of a no-pressure coach, but everybody believes that your offensive team should be spectacular for the upcoming season.
Well, I hope so. And I guess that's why Pat's been in my office more than he was. The first year he didn't come in. We weren't that good. Now all of a sudden he's coming on this side. So he might mention, I'll let him call a couple plays. We'll see how he does. But, no, he's been great. It's been fun to work with him. And finally, the guys on our staff have done a really good job recruiting offensively and what we want to do and where we want to be. And I've done this a few times at different places. It takes some time. And I think we're in a right frame of mind right now. And, I took some beatings in the spring the last couple of years and let the players know, and so did they. And so I told Kenny that's another reason we can kick hell out of the defense in spring. You haven't done that since you've been here. He goes, you're right. I'm coming back. So it's good.